The Pennsylvania countryside rolled on forever beneath a battered orange sky as James Reed navigated his beat-up SUV along a rutted dirt road. Back behind them, a rusty old U-Haul bounced with boxes from their former life in Philadelphia. At his side in the silence, his wife Maria stared out at the darkening woods. Their 10-year-old daughter Emma rode in the back seat, humming to herself as she hugged an old stuffed rabbit. The GPS kept glitching, recalculating endlessly. When the voice finally spoke again, "Turn left in 1 mile." It sounded distorted, mechanical, almost hesitant. "You sure this is the right way?" Maria asked. "Feels like we've been driving forever." James forced a smile. "Yeah, the realtor said it's just up this road. It's cheap for a reason, remember?" Emma grinned. "I like it. It's quiet here." They discovered the house at the terminal of a long-forgotten lane, overgrown with bare trees that stood leaning inward, attempting to conceal it. A 2-story old farmhouse, weathered to a dull gray, slumped behind a rusty fence. The mailbox indicated The Hollow, 1923. The wind moaned beneath the eaves, bearing the smell of damp leaves and something further back. Mold, perhaps, or rot. James stopped. The engine sputtered and shut down, leaving a thick silence. Maria gazed at the house. "It's smaller than in pictures." "Photos are deceiving," James replied. Emma was already out of the car, heading for an antique swing in the yard. It creaked back and forth, although the air remained stagnant. Inside, the hollow house was musty with mildew and dust. The floorboards creaked beneath every step, and the walls appeared to exhale on the lamplight. A huge stone fireplace filled the living room. James located the breaker and switched it. The lights dimly flickered before stabilizing into a weak pale. "I'll get what we can unpacked," Maria said, hugging herself. "Emma, stick close." But Emma was arrested by the staircase, a shadowy, gaping tunnel to the second floor. When her parents moved away, she slipped up. The upstairs hall was lined with curling paper and shut doors. One was open an inch or so. A faint tapping resounded from within. She pushed the door open. The room was vacant but for a rocking chair that faced the window. It rocked ever so slightly, creaking against the floor. Emma moved closer. The chair ceased its motion. She stood still. Then a whisper, low, nearly gentle. "Don't wake him." "Who said that?" Emma whispered. Nobody replied. The air seemed to chill. She retreated, her heart pounding. When she got to the hall, the chair resumed its rocking, slow and steady. That evening, while eating takeout beneath the lanterns, Maria attempted to smile. "So this is it, our fresh start. It's within our means," James said. "And it's ours." There came a soft thud from above. They both hesitated. "Probably Emma," James ventured. But when he looked, the room was empty. The rocking chair sat motionless in moonlight, hand-carved initials along its arm. "RT," he turned to go. The chair creaked once behind him. James lay awake. He lay beside Maria, his eyes fixed on the ceiling, listening. The walls appeared to be alive, faint tapping, rhythmic and far, then whispers. Muffled voices behind the wall. Quietly he got up, grabbed a flashlight, and descended to the basement. There was a small door under the stairs, locked by a rusty padlock. It had already been forced. He pushed it open and went down into the cellar. The air was earthy and decaying. Dust clouded the beam of his light. Rusted tools hung on the walls. Near the back, a small wooden door, no higher than a child, was half ajar. There was a crawl space inside, cluttered with old playthings, a broken doll, blocks, a shoe belonging to a child. On the stone wall, written in worn-away chalk, were 3 words, "He still sleeps." James gazed for a long time, his breath misting in the cold. The following morning, Maria discovered him at the kitchen table, pale and mute. "You didn't sleep." "Found something strange in the basement," he said. "Old toys, probably from the previous family." "The realtor told us it's been unoccupied for years," she said. Emma burst in, holding her stuffed rabbit. "There's a boy upstairs," she said cheerfully. Maria frowned. "What boy?" "He was in the rocking chair. He said he lives here. His name is Robbie. He said we woke him up." James and Maria shared a long, uncomfortable glance. Later in the day, an elderly man from down the street, Mr. Keller, dropped by. His hands trembled as he clasped himself to the porch railing. "Didn't think anyone would buy this house again," he said, again. James replied. Last people who lived here hurried away, Keller replied. Prior to that, in '62, the Harrisons lived here. Their son died. Never saw the body. They told him he wandered into the woods. James paused. What was his name? The old man gazed up, his eyes narrowing. Robbie. That evening, the voices were louder. Emma sat on her bed, her rabbit limp at her side. A boy's voice floated from the corner. You're lucky, it replied. You can go away. Why can't you? Emma whispered. He won't permit me. Who? She inquired. No response was forthcoming. Instead, there was a faint handprint in the dust on her window, from the inside. Downstairs, Maria knelt beside the hearth, attempting to light a match. In soot on the stone appeared faint words, "Don't burn his room." Her hand shook. James, she cried, but he was already walking back into the basement, attracted to something unseen. He stooped beside the crawl space. The toys were missing. The air felt colder. He held up his flashlight, and whatever was in the shadows shifted fast and low. There was a white face just long enough for him to realize that it wasn't. He pitched back, slamming into the stairs as light careened away. The boy's face lingered in the blackness, eyes dark and empty. Then vanished. The next day, James sat at the kitchen table, wrapping a deep cut on his arm. We have to get out of here, Maria stated flatly. It's an old house, he grumbled. James, she whispered. You saw something. He lifted his eyes, defeated. I saw him. A boy, pale, wet, like something dragged from the river. Maria took his arm. Then we go. Today. They loaded quickly, shoving boxes into the SUV. The forest loomed over them, watching. The house creaked, its timbers protesting as if knowing their purpose. Emma stood on the porch, frozen as a statue. Come on, honey, Maria coaxed. He says we can't go. Emma whispered. Who says so? Robbie's father, she breathed. He's still here. Windows slammed shut, trapping them inside. The front door shut behind them with a crash. The air grew heavy and charged. The fireplace burst into black smoke, not flame, but a smothering, pulsing fog. Black forms stirred within it, the indistinct shadows of a man and a little boy. Run, James yelled. They bolted upstairs, chased by the sound of slamming doors. Every room sealed behind them until only one remained open, the small bedroom with the rocking chair. It moved violently, striking the wall. Emma ran forward. Stop, you're hurting him. Instantly, the chair went still. The air grew deathly quiet. James saw something on the ground, faint seams in the shape of a square under the carpet. He ripped it up, wrenching the wood with his crowbar. Underneath was a child-sized skeleton, tightly wrapped around a toy car. The air plummeted to zero. The lights burst, leaving the room dark. Then the voice, deep, angry, not human. You shouldn't have found him. The walls undulated. The floor buckled. Maria screamed. The family stumbled through splintering boards and crashed into the basement. The crawlspace door exploded open, wind screaming through it. Within, the boy's shadow shuddered, and behind him towered something huge, featureless, spewing hatred. That's not the boy, Maria breathed. The shape charged, screaming. James flung the lantern, shattering it. Fire erupted up the walls. The creature screamed, the sound like metal ripping. James pulled Maria and Emma up the stairs as the basement erupted behind them. They staggered out into the night as the hollow house burned, fire consuming the roof. The smoke billowed black and unending into the sky. Emma turned and saw, behind the fire, a small shape in the doorway. A boy with a faint smile. Then he vanished. At dawn, the family huddled in their SUV, parked along a county road. The house was reduced to blackened beams and smoke. He's free now, Emma whispered, staring at the fading light of the fire. Maria hugged her close. James remained silent. Later in the day, at the sheriff's office, they recounted their tale. The sheriff listened incredulously, thumbing through a worn folder. That building burned? He said. Strangest thing is, it was already condemned. No electricity, no gas. Shouldn't have caught fire like that. He looked at them for a moment. You mentioned the boy's name was Robbie? Maria nodded. The sheriff sighed, opening the file. Robert Turner. 10 years old. His father killed him and hid the body under the floor. Said something told him to do it. Then he hung himself in the basement. That was 1962. He closed the folder. That house has been called the Hollow ever since. They drove off that night, the sky growing dark behind them. Rain began to fall. They pulled into a cheap roadside motel, tired, and fell asleep within minutes, with the exception of Emma. She sat at the window, observing the raindrops trickle down the glass. Outside, through the thin haze, she believed she saw movement, a small hand flat against the glass, leaving a diminishing print. She smiled weakly. "Good night, Robbie." The handprint melted into the mist, and the hollow house slumbered on.